is not sufficient in order to fulfill the drinking water facility.
What is being questioned? The manner in which his name has been added suddenly, and then the next day he's been arrested. You also say that this is nothing political, but we've also seen none less than your ministers actually celebrating firecrackers being burst.
Is it now sinking in that you've achieved what was seemingly looking like impossible even on the night before the day of the summit?
I was working as really the Sherpa of the Prime Minister. His personal credibility was very high and I could pull it off.
All the focus, of course, has been on the joint declaration, and 12 hours before the declaration was officially adopted, negotiators were still not sure whether they would arrive at it.
I don't know about 12 hours, I can tell you it was much closer than that. This is how big international events go, that it really goes down to the wire and you've got to hold your nerve, you've got to make that last push.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. We're coming to you live from the newsrooms of CNN News 18. There's lots to cover over the next 60 minutes. But we're beginning this broadcast with a mega CNN News 18 exclusive. Over the next few minutes, we're going to show you a new sinister plot that stands revealed as far as the plans and strategy of Pakistan is concerned. We're going to put out two videos that are going to show you Pakistan's new strategy to try and push terrorists into India. And we're picking all of this courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. The videos that we will just play out for you in a short while from now will show you how Lashkar terrorists are testing the possibility of dropping terrorists or human beings via drones. Yes, you heard that correctly, and our viewers would remember that this is something that the Indian agencies have been talking about for a while now, and this stands confirmed and exposed in the videos that we will be putting out shortly. In fact, we want to put out those videos for you so that you can actually see the kind of testing that is happening and what these terrorists are in fact trying to do. In a short while from now, we will also break down the details in terms of what is the capability as far as these drones are concerned, and more importantly, going forward, what does this mean for India? So let's bring up the first video for our viewers. This is the first time that you will be seeing videos like these. As I pointed out, this is something that the Indian agencies have been speaking for a while. This is Lashkar terrorists testing the possibility of dropping terrorists or human beings while using drones. So we're going to put out two videos. One is a night video and the other video is of terrorists in fact being dropped into water bodies. So as I pointed out, this is another sinister strategy that stands exposed as far as Pakistan is concerned. This is the video that I was talking about. You can see how in fact you have people hanging on those drones. In fact, a little sitting area of sorts has also been made for the person to try and stabilize himself and then easily can be dropped in a water body. Now, this water body can either be a stream or a pond depending on a case-to-case basis. Let's play out the other nighttime video as well, because that's a crucial video in terms of you can see how the testing is taking place. Let's stay with this video. You can see how these people in fact try and put that person on the drone and then they let it take off. And then they in fact celebrate in a way, seeing this as a massive success. So as I pointed out, another sinister plot of Pakistan now standing exposed of testing possibility of dropping terrorists while using drones. In a while from now, we'll break down the details of what is the capability of these drones itself. I'll also want to bring in our colleague Anand Narsiman also in a while in this chat to try and understand what we are picking up by the means of sources in terms of how long this testing has been going and more importantly, what this means for India going forward. Let's in fact get our colleague Anand Narsiman also in this conversation. Anand, as I pointed out, this is for the first time that our viewers are seeing these videos that we are putting out. Indian agencies have been speaking about this for a while. Help us understand for how long has this testing been going on, and more importantly, what is the kind of capabilities of these drones that we're seeing in these videos?
Well, Ridhima, and to our viewers, let's just tell you that they have successfully airdropped or drone dropped a terrorist in Punjab. It's happened. We will show you some more details that has been accessed through our group editor security, Manoj Gupta. But this is shocking, ladies and gentlemen. What a nation that's in penury, they are still obsessed with bleeding Bharat. And this lot at the Lashkar camps is actually training how to use drones, not just to drop drugs or arms. They are now looking at how can we transport human beings or terrorists. The night visuals that you see, these are the visuals that you see. This is perhaps the initial stages of preparation that happened, where they were first trying to see, now this is a hexacopter. So this hexacopter, which is usually used to drop pesticides or spray pesticides, it's a big machine and it can hover around and it has capability of carrying up to 70 kilos. So can it hover and can it lift off if it is actually carrying a payload of a human being? And that's why you see this human being with a harness around his waist and his groin, and his hands are tied. And they're saying, will it lift off? And if it lifts off, how long can it hang on the air? And that's where the testing has begun. From this, if you move to the day visuals, in the day visuals you will then see that this drone actually looks like a cubicle. You don't know what's inside. It looks like it's pesticide, but it opens up the harness and you can see the harness hanging.
And the drop happens.
And the drop happens, and this person is actually dropping about 8 to 10 feet into water, or the plan is to land on soft grass or somewhere around the entire valley area where the grass or the earth will be soft, so the landing will be softened. But the idea is that they can transport. This drone can travel about 50 to 60 kilometers as the crow flies. It can be programmed to spray on its own. So all of this they have perfected. Clearly these drones have been accessed through the army, through the ISI who has provided them to these jihadi outfits, and then they are perfecting it. Now this is one drone. Imagine if they send 20. You'll be able to shoot down 5 or 10, but even another 10 crossover. In the dead of the night is where they are actually practicing this. The implications are huge as to what they have done around the borders or even at the LOC, and they will try and do it where the land is flat so that the terrain is not up and downy. There are no hills to obstruct. It's a straight path as the crow flies. The drop happens and then the drone goes back to its main base.
Two things that I want to understand, Anand. One is none of this is possible without the kind of aid and support that's coming in from the ISI. That's very clear. Secondly, the timing of when these videos are coming out. We are still talking about the encounter that's out in Anantnag. We've already lost 3 of our Bevhars. And look at the reaction that's coming in from the valley leaders, that talks are the only way to go forward with Pakistan. If this is the reality, what are the kind of consequences going forward for India?
See, there will always be peaceniks. There will always be, for those politics, this is a business. Conflict becomes a business. And for them, jinki dukaan usse chalti hai, they are going to advocate for this dukaan to continue. But the reality is, this nation is in penury. This nation is in disarray. This nation is actually sitting on loans and money which is being parked in its forex reserves by other nations which are sympathetic to its cause because it's an Islamic nation. Otherwise, if that money is pulled out, this country will go bankrupt overnight. But the reality is, the lot of jihadis who have been manufactured in their backyard, they are sitting there desperate because they know nothing else. They've been trained to come out and kill, given them whatever. So they have been asked to continue what they are doing. And today it happens, like even if there is a central think tank which is saying let's not get into a conflict situation with India, there are those who are out there who are now become free agents, and they are saying that this is what we will do. So you see some of those manifest on our side, those who have infiltrated perhaps a year and a half ago, some recruits from a year ago. They are in action right now. They will be accounted for. Yes, we have lost our braves. They've been killed in action, but there will be an end to it. They will put a stop to it. But if this is what is being practiced on the other side of the LOC, then some serious action needs to be taken.
Unfortunately, Anand, we will have to leave that conversation there. Thanks for giving us all those details. Before we break down more details as far as what we're putting out in this exclusive investigation, and while we get in our guests as well, let's play out that sequence of events on those videos once again. So we just played out the sequence of events coming out of those videos once again for our viewers. Now let's break down some crucial details in terms of what is the capability as far as these drones that we saw in these videos. Now what these drones can do is they can have an easy access as far as the Indian territory is concerned, and all of this testing is happening at night, so it's going to be very difficult to detect them as well. Now these drones can travel about 60 kilometers both sides, so that's a long distance that they in fact can cover. What we're also now picking up is this is ISIS designs are getting far more sinister. Exactly what we were discussing with Anand, that none of this is possible without the aid or the help as far as the ISI is concerned. Pak proxies can step up their attacks, and they already are if you go by the kind of testing that is taking place. Recently, as we were pointing out, they've already done it. One terrorist in fact has been dropped in Punjab. The larger question is how many more do they plan to drop? How many more drones do they plan to use going forward? And that has become a real worry as far as the Indian authorities are concerned. At this point, let's also now bring in our guest to try and understand what is the way forward. We have Dr. Monica Verma, strategic affairs expert. We also have Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force and defense expert. Good to have both of you with us here on CNN News 18. Dr. Monica Verma, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. This is for the first time that viewers are seeing videos where you can see Lashkar terrorists testing the possibility of dropping human beings, dropping terrorists to try and get into India. First, what do you make of the kind of testing that is happening? This is something that Indian agencies have been speaking for a while.
I believe this is a Network 18 exclusive, and fantastic work. Congratulations for unearthing so much things which are of value to the intelligence establishment. I think till now we have seen all sort of infiltration bids by Pakistan. It has used drones very extensively, especially from the COVID time when things were very difficult for the entire world. They've been using drones. So in the last 3 years, the use of drones has actually come up. And one state that has suffered the most is Punjab, because relatively, the terrain in Punjab is very conducive for drones to land in India. And these drones have so far only carried arms or maybe drugs, or they have carried guns, or sometimes, even vans of cash as well. So there's been a lot of cash that has been transferred from across the border. This is the first time that drones have been used.
Yeah. Okay, we seem to have lost that line with Dr. Monica Verma. We'll just try and reestablish that connection. But I want to bring in Group Captain also in the conversation. Group Captain, the timing of when all of these videos that are now being put out by our network, this is at a time when that encounter in Anantnag is still on. We've lost 3 of our brave hearts, and combing operations are still on. Army sources also now telling us here at CNN News 18 that this is coming at a point that 1 Jawan is missing and 1 possibly is injured. What do you make of Pakistan's new strategy? As I was asking Dr. Monica Verma also a short while ago, none of this is possible without the kind of support and aid that's coming in from the ISI.
Oh yes, there is no doubt that all these terrorist activities can take place in Kashmir only because Pakistan and ISI are behind the scene. They are providing huge amount of administrative and logistics backup support to these terrorists. These terrorists are being trained in a very, very highly professional manner by ISI. There is no doubt that ISI, Army and Pakistan establishment wants to create maximum amount of confusion, damage, and probably demoralized. They are thinking that they will demoralize the Indian forces. They want to do it now because of many reasons. Most important being that Pakistan itself is passing through a period of uncertainty. They have political instability. They have massive financial problems of their own, and world has decided to ignore them.
Yeah. I believe Dr. Monica Verma is now back with us. Doctor, go ahead. We lost your connection a short while ago.
Yes, yeah. So Ridhima, I'm back, and the point that I was making is that earlier, they were transferring all sort of drugs and arms and ammunitions, but this is the first time that they are practicing to literally, use drone to infiltrate people into India, and I think this is a worrying trend because, but then also I'm someone who's a skeptic of this technology because I was just reading about it. World over, many countries are trying to have drones that can on a very practical basis
Sure.
actually use to for human beings. And I don't think Pakistan, with the kind of technology and the kind of economic base that country has, they have perfected that technology yet. How successful would they be? Because I was following your own reports, and I was being shown that 60 kilometers on both sides of the
True.
border, these drones are capable of operating. But would they be successful in carrying a human being who's like 80, 90 kgs? That is something that still needs to be figured out. But a
Yeah.
message that is going from this, which is coming from all what Pakistan is trying to do, is
Hmm.
that despite being in the worst possible economic
Yeah.
situation, despite having so many fronts which are open to fight a war on, whether it is TTP, whether it is the Pak occupied Kashmir, so many
Hmm.
protests are taking place. Pakistan is in a turmoil.
Sure.
Despite of all this, one thing that Pakistan is not able to give up on is in sponsoring terror against India. And
Yeah.
while the encounter
Dr.
takes
Monica
place in
Verma, I
Anant,
apologize for interrupting. I just want to focus on something that you only pointed out a short while ago, which is how feasible is this plan going to be by Pakistan, which means how capable are these drones to, in fact, take the weight of a human being and then drop him either in a water body, which could be a pond or a stream, because this is something that will need a lot of funding as well. Right now, we're getting confirmation that Pakistan, in fact, has dropped one terrorist using this drone technology. The question is, how many more do they plan to use? But as far as this technology is concerned, in the past we've seen drone droppings being made either for drugs or money or for other equipment, but we've never seen the droppings of human beings that have taken place. So how feasible is this in fact going forward?
I think many countries are trying to make progress in this area. They've been trying to conduct research that can actually, feasibly take human beings using drones. But I don't think Pakistan is able to succeed in a long time, because you rightly said that it will require a lot of funding.
Yeah.
Many countries have tried to do it. In fact, in India also, I think Varuna is a drone that we have developed, but even that has not been able to launch on a commercial basis. It's in a very so to say, a primitive stage. We
Sure.
are just initiating that kind of a research. So carrying 5-6 kgs, or maybe a few bundles of notes, or maybe a few arms is easy. And drone infiltration has definitely increased. We've seen the imprint in Punjab especially is the highest. But using that to actually transfer human beings across the border, and also, it's not a question of just dropping them down. It's also the question of picking them up.
Absolutely.
Once they are in our territory, then they can easily be intercepted by
Yeah.
our forces, and we can actually make them talk. I
Yeah.
don't think Pakistan would be willing to take that sort of a risk, because if infiltration bit is not successful, or maybe if
Yeah.
we intercept one of the terrorists, we will simply put them in jail and torture them to life and ask them the kind of secret that we need. I don't think Pakistan would be willing to take that risk, because
Okay.
in training a terrorist, it takes a lot of amount of energy and also money.
Yeah.
Training these people to wage jihad against the Indian state, it's a lot
Yeah.
of
Well,
money,
that
it's
of
a lot
course
of
remains a reality that they will need a lot of funding, they will need a lot of money and a regular cash flow to come in as far as these drone plan is concerned. And we all know the situation of Pakistan's economy, a country's economy that still continues to be in the doldrums. But I believe Group Captain is also now back with us. Group Captain, essentially what I want to understand are two things. One, what do you make of Pakistan's strategy now wanting to use drones? Secondly, I want to understand from an Indian perspective. If you look at the first video that we put out, it was a video where the testing was happening at the night time, and this has been done strategically so that it makes it even more difficult to detect as far as the Indian forces are concerned. What is the kind of counter strategy that we'll need from the Indian forces if these drones need to be detected?
Oh yes. Firstly, Pakistan is resorting to use of these drones primarily because, as far as LOC is concerned, it is becoming very difficult for them to cross LOC, because at many places we have done successful physical boundary marking fencing, and our troops, army as well as BSF on LOC have become more and more alert. So it is
True.
becoming difficult for them to infiltrate so easily. One odd infiltration case does take place, but it is easier for them to send money, ammunition, weapons to
Sure.
India across the international boundary or across LOC by use of these drones.
Okay.
As far as our counter strategy is concerned, we are very clear. Uh, BSF is the first responder, and during daytime, they have shot down many of these drones
True.
successfully. They depend upon visual scientific of these Pakistani drones, and they have their own light machine guns type of weapons which shoot down these drones. They are very successful.
Yeah.
But government of India has also trained and provided equipment to Indian Army and to Indian Air Force. Indian Air Force has deployed at some places, not at all places,
Sure.
short-range radars which are easily able to pick up these drones from a distance of 25 to 50 kilometer.
Okay.
Similarly, our Army and Air Force has deployed at some places, not entire border, troops with handheld thermal imaging system which can detect these drones even at night.
Okay.
How to shoot them down is a big worry because many of these drones are too small to be engaged by surface to air missile.
Okay.
So, as a counter strategy, Army and Air Force has deployed anti-aircraft guns. But I will say it is in open source. The limitation is
Okay.
that the range of these anti-aircraft guns is limited to
Okay.
maximum just 4 to 5 kilometer.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Monica Verma, I'd like to give you the final word. I want to understand, considering the fact we're getting reports of a confirmation that one terrorist, in fact, has been dropped from Pakistan using exactly this strategy, which is using a drone to drop human beings. How real is this concern going forward? Because if they've tasted success with one, I'm assuming that the plan will be to multiple it into as many people going forward.
Yes, absolutely. As group captain also pointed out that it's becoming very difficult and also costly for them to infiltrate through other ways.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just following the media reports only, and there were reports that they are now shifting to Nepal as a territory to
Yeah.
make sure that there's infiltration in India, and we've seen that on ground. So I think when all these attempts are not able to bear result for Pakistan and it can't mend its ways, it can't focus on something productive, it is obviously going to look for new technology. So if a successful bid has already been made, it will feel emboldened and it will be willing to use it going further. And what we can do is I think I am not an expert on this. Maybe the
Sure.
captain is a better, authority on that. But I would
Sure.
definitely say that whenever it comes to Pakistan, not just in terms of having a counter drone technology, we must also focus on how we can stiffen it further. Maybe
Sure.
break diplomatic ties we've already done.
Yeah.
Maybe stop all kind of support which
Well,
is
that
possible to
messaging from
Pakistan.
India has been clear, and that's in fact been reiterated in the last few days as well. Even yesterday, the Union Minister VK Singh also reiterated that talks and terror cannot go on hand in hand till the time the situation at the LOC is under control. We can have no normal relations with Pakistan. Unfortunately, I will have to leave that conversation there. I'd like to thank both our guests. This is a big story that we'll continue to get other facets as well here on CNN News 18. For now, we're slipping into a very short break. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's now shift our focus to the other big story that we are tracking, which is the ground situation in Anantnag. Remember, an encounter that broke out that has been on for over 40 hours now. Till a while ago, you could in fact hear gunshots still in the backdrop. Remember, this is the encounter that has resulted in us losing 3 of our brave hearts. One was a colonel of the battalion 19 Rashtra Rifles. The other was Major Ashish, again part of the same battalion. And one was a representative of the Jammu and Kashmir police. All 3 of them losing their lives while protecting the country. Let's first bring in our colleague Ishan Vani, who in fact has been reporting for us from Anantnag to try and understand what the ground situation currently looks like. Ishan, help us understand what's happening on the ground. Can you still hear gunshots in the backdrop?
Well, absolutely right. There was a lull for at least more than an hour, and after that, continuous firing, as you're hearing in the background. That's still happening around this particular mountain range behind me. It seems like the light machine gun is being used to target some areas in this mountain wherever the movement is being spotted. We've already seen the drones are in action. Then, specialized teams of the Indian Army, including sniffer dogs, mountain units are also there engaging these militants. They believe that there's a cave-style hideout where they are hiding, and that needs to be targeted. It will be difficult to target that because there's a dense forest cover, and then also you have to target them from different positions. We don't want to give out any locations right now, but yes, forces are trying to target that particular area there, and then to basically launch an attack. We saw in the morning, as you heard, this is UVGL, so as you heard in the morning as well, that there was a continuous attack on these particular locations where source forces believe that these militants are hiding, and since then these gunfires are just continuing. We have heard them since last 10-15 minutes that the gunshots have started once again, but as I mentioned earlier again, that this is not an easy terrain, and the operation near that area is directly not possible. So that is why drones mounted with guns are being used. Multiple use of technology is being seen in play after a very long time, because we've been talking about the advancement of army, and this is one such challenge where the technology can help, and technology can enable them in tracking and tracking down those who are in these mountains. So yes, multiple team of army, para is also involved in this operation, and JNK police are collectively launching this particular attack to flash out those who are hiding in these mountains and are right now there. So yes, the encounter is very much on. We don't know whether this will slip into fourth day tomorrow, but it seems like in all possibilities that tomorrow will be the 4th day of this encounter.
So as Ishan is pointing out, there is now a very strong possibility that this encounter can in fact move into its 4th day, because as our viewers would also be able to hear, gunshots can still be heard in the backdrop. Ishan, what I want to essentially now understand from you is, as more details are now emerging as far as this encounter is concerned, the details that we're picking up is it's not just the 3 officers that we have lost, but also that 1 Jawan is missing and 1 is critically injured. What are more details that you're picking up on those lines?
Well, yes, our colleague Akash has reported from Delhi that 1 army soldier is missing, and 1 of them is injured, though he is not serious, but he is being treated by a team of doctors. Yesterday, army had said that there are 2 of them are actually injured, and they are being treated. Apart from the 3 of these officers, 2 of them highly decorated, 1 colonel who had already received Sena medal, and 1 major who had received Sena medal recently, were both actually hit, and then they were killed in action. Apart from him, DSP Himayu, who had just got married last year and had a 1-month-old baby at home, he also got into this volley of bullet which hit him, and then which later also resulted in his death. Yes, there is operation which is underway. One has to see that how much long time does it take, because of the terrain being difficult, the area being hard. That is why it's taking forces a lot of time to end this operation, because they believe that Uzair Khan along with others are still trapped in this area. One has to see that what transpires in next coming 24 hours. They are going to be crucial in terms of the intensity of the operation that we may see is increasing by every hour.
Okay, as Ishan is pointing out that things are getting still tense with each passing hour. It's a possibility that this encounter could move in day 4 as well. Ishan, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's also play out some ground reports that came in from family members and residences of those who have lost their lives, from Major Ashish's residence in Panipat and Colonel Manpreet's residence in Mohali. Let's take a look.
मैं इस समय पानीपत में हूँ। पानीपत के उस जगह पर हूँ जहाँ पर मेजर आशीष ने अपना एक नया घर बनाया था और उसी नए घर के गृह प्रवेश में उनको अगले महीने आना था। वो घर हम आपको दिखाएंगे, लेकिन सबसे पहले आपको जानकारी दे देते हैं। अब से थोड़ी देर के बाद मेजर आशीष अपने अंतिम सफ़र पर यहाँ से उनकी अंतिम विदाई यहाँ से होगी और बाकायदा आप देख सकते हैं कि तस्वीरों में जिस तरीके से जो वाहन है, जो यात्रा वाहन है, उसको बाकायदा फूलों से सजाया गया है और तमाम सेना के वरिष्ठ अधिकारी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, तमाम जवान यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं और आशीष की अंतिम विदाई अब यहाँ पर होनी है। और इसके साथ साथ तमाम गांव वाले, उनके आसपास के लोग यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं उनके दर्शन के लिए, उनको श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए, क्योंकि एक ऐसा बेटा जो यहाँ से तकरीबन 5 किलोमीटर उनका गांव है बिंजौल, जहाँ पर उनका अंतिम संस्कार होगा और उस गांव में पले बड़े, लेकिन अब वो हमारे बीच नहीं है, इस समाज के बीच नहीं है। तो अपने उस वीर सपूत को अंतिम विदाई, उसके अंतिम दर्शन के लिए यहाँ पर सैकड़ों की तादाद में लोग पहुँचे हैं। जो जानते थे वो भी, जो नहीं जानते थे वो उनका नाम सुनकर कि चलिए कि हमारे पास का रहने वाला एक बेटा शहीद हो गया है, उसके अंतिम दर्शन किए जाएँ, उसको अंतिम विदाई दी जाए। तो इसलिए ये तमाम नम आँखों के साथ लोग यहाँ पर हैं। आँखें नम ज़रूर हैं, लेकिन मन में, सीने में वो गर्व है कि हमारा वीर सपूत देश के लिए कुर्बान हो गया। और ये वो घर है जिस घर का उनको 23 अक्टूबर को गृह प्रवेश करना था और उनकी एक 2.5 साल की बेटी है, पत्नी है ज्योति, 2 बूढ़े माँ बाप हैं और 3 बहनों के बीच में अकेले भाई थे मेजर आशीष धोचक। अब हमारे बीच नहीं है और ये कहीं ना कहीं एक सांकेतिक तौर पर उनको श्रद्धांजलि देने की कोशिश है कि जिस चौखट पर आकर उनको उस घर का गृह प्रवेश करना था, अब आशीष नहीं है, लेकिन उनकी अंतिम विदाई इसी घर से, इसी चौखट से दी जाएगी। जो घर हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं, पानीपत की TDI सिटी का ये वो घर है और यहाँ से तकरीबन 5 किलोमीटर दूर उनका गांव बिंजौल है, जहाँ पर उनका अंतिम संस्कार किया जाएगा और यहाँ से ये अंतिम सफ़र शुरू होगा और फ़ख्र के साथ, पूरी शान शौकत के साथ उनकी विदाई होगी और राजकीय सम्मान के साथ आज यहाँ पर विदा किया जाएगा। तिरंगा झंडा आप देख रहे हैं, आज ये वीर जवान उसी तिरंगे झंडे में लिपट कर हमेशा के लिए माँ भारती के कदमों में और कुर्बान हो जाएगा। तो सैकड़ों की तादाद में लोग यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं, आंखें नम हैं, लेकिन मन में यही है कि हमारा भाई, हमारा बेटा देश के लिए कुर्बान हो गया।
आपकी तकलीफ को दुनिया महसूस कर रही है, आपने अपना बेटा देश के नाम किया, समर्पित किया। कैसी यादें आप, जबकि आज उनका अंतिम संस्कार भी होना है?
मेरे बेटे की आदत तो सदा ही रहन गया। मेरे पुत्र ने छुट्टी आया था, आज छुट्टी पहले ही आ गया, लंबी छुट्टी आ गया। मेरा बेटा लंबी छुट्टी करा गया, मेरा बेटा लंबी छुट्टी करा गया, घर आने से पहले ही आ गया। हाय मेरा बेटा शहीद हो गया, मेरा कर्नल शहीद हो गया।
And we're shifting our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. This is another letter that has been written by K. Chandrasekhar Rao to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, demanding and reiterating a demand that he's made in the past, asking for 33% reservation for OBCs as far as the Parliament is concerned. Let me in fact read out from that letter that has been written by KCR. It goes on to say, Dear Prime Minister, as you're aware, the visionary architects of our Constitution and the various provisions that have been made in our Constitution, we are once again reiterating our demand as far as the marginalized sections of the society are concerned. This is for providing reservations for OBCs in public employment and admissions in educational institutions. However, as you would also agree with me, proportionate representation in Parliament and and state legislature is a sinecure, non-democratic policy to reflect hopes and aspirations of marginalized sections of the society. Realizing this critical need, Telangana State Legislature has passed a unanimous resolution on the 14th of June requesting the Government of India to provide for 33% reservation for OBCs in Parliament and state legislatures. Let's also now bring in our colleague Swastika, who's in fact now joining us on the broadcast. Swastika, as I pointed out, this is a demand that we've heard from K. Chandrasekhar Rao in the past as well, and he in fact is now reiterating this in another letter that he's written to the Prime Minister. Help us understand the key demands as far as the Chief Minister is concerned.
Well, actually, this is significant in the sense that the timing of it comes at a time when the Congress is also going to hold its CWC meeting here, and in fact, they also spoke about the topic, saying women's reservation bill is actually the child of the Congress party. It was them which had passed it in the Rajya Sabha, and they have been in favor of women's reservation bill from day one. But they also raised question about the commitment as far as KCR is concerned. They said that both BRS and the BJP are two sides of the same coin, because in the floor of the House, BRS has always supported the Modi government on key issues, and if not support, they've staged a walkout also, not taking any sides, and that is something that clearly goes on to show that both are in tandem with each other. Very quickly, regarding women's reservation bill, CM has written to Prime Minister Modi. He has also written another letter demanding 33% quota for OBCs as well. And this is also a key aspect, because politically KCR is somebody who has covered each and every community here in Telangana via his welfare scheme, and KCR now batting for OBCs through a letter being written to Prime Minister Modi is going to at least help him build the narrative that it is the BJP which is not in favor of the quota. And OBC is also a community which is very important for the BJP as far as Telangana is concerned. Regarding the women's reservation bill, the argument that has come from the Congress's side is that Kavita, instead of focusing on Rahul Gandhi and women's reservation bill, should focus and worry about the enforcement directorate.
Okay, Swastika, unfortunately, we will have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's now shift our focus to the other big story, which is the ongoing row as far as the Sanatan Dharma is concerned. It all started with the remarks that had been made by Udinidhi Stalin when he said, just like malaria and dengue, Sanatan Dharma also needs to be eradicated. For the first time, we heard from the Prime Minister yesterday while he was in the poll-bound state of Chhattisgarh, and he tore into the opposition saying this reflects the real intent as far as the opposition bloc, which is the INDIA alliance. He essentially hit out at the opposition saying they want to erase everything that essentially represents what India or Bharat represents. Let's take a look at some political reactions coming in.
जो लोग लगातार चुनाव हार रहे हैं, वे लोग अब आपसे इतनी नफरत से भर गए हैं कि उन्होंने आपकी पहचान, आपकी संस्कृति के खिलाफ ही मोर्चा खोल दिया है। इंडी गठबंधन ने तय किया है कि वो भारत की सनातन संस्कृति को समाप्त करके रहेगा, यानी जो संस्कृति हजारों साल से भारत को एक किए हुए है, सत्ता के लालच में ये लोग अब उसे तोड़ना चाहते हैं। गांधी जी से लेकर स्वामी विवेकानंद तक, देवी मां अहल्याबाई होलकर से लेकर मीराबाई तक हजारों हजार साल ये सनातन धर्म, सनातन संस्कृति हर किसी को प्रेरित करती रही है।
ये इंडी अलायंस है ना, इंडी अलायंस, INDI अलायंस, इंडी अलायंस, ये घमंडिया अलायंस, ये घमंडिया अलायंस मुंबई में 1 सितंबर को बैठक करता है और 3 सितंबर को इनके मजबूत घटक में मजबूत पार्टनर DMK, स्टालिन जो वहां का मुख्यमंत्री है, उसका बेटा उदयनिधि स्टालिन वो सनातन धर्म को गंभीर बीमारियों के साथ जोड़ करके देख करके उसका निरादर करता है। हमारे खड़गे साहब के बेटे प्रियांक खड़गे जो कर्नाटक सरकार में मंत्री हैं, वह दोबारा सनातन धर्म पर आक्षेप करते हैं। और उसके बाद तमिलनाडु का एक मंत्री दोबारा आक्षेप करता है। मैं क्या समझूं इसको? आज दिन तक सोनिया गांधी चुप है। आज दिन तक राहुल दुनिया भर में जाकर के संविधान की बातें करते हैं, लेकिन एक शब्द भी इस पर कहने से बचते हैं।
जिस दिन हिंदू धर्म के विषय में, शिव भगवान के विषय में, भगवान राम के विषय में, या बुद्धिस्ट धर्म के विषय में, या किसी भी धर्म के विषय में अगर डिबेट करना चाहें तो हमारा नेता 5 मिनट में इनको चित्त कर देगा। उसका इतना गहरा अध्ययन है धर्मों के विषय में।
देखिए, पूरा ये जो विपक्ष का अलायंस हुआ है, इसका जो असली मकसद है ये भारत का हिंदुत्व को वीक करना और सनातन का खिलाफ काम करना। तो ये पूरा अलायंस का जो मकसद है, ये मकसद ही हमारा सभ्यता और संस्कृति को बर्बाद कर देना। तो इसीलिए अगली जो लोकसभा चुनाव होगा, ये सिविलाइजेशनल का फाइट होगा, सभ्यता का फाइट होगा और हमारा भारत का लोग सनातन को सुरक्षित रखेगा।
मोहन भागवत जी ने सबसे ज्यादा स्वीकारोक्ति की, आप लोगों ने उनको बिसरा दिया। अरे उस आरएसएस के प्रमुख हैं, सरकार चलाते हैं। उन्होंने कहा 2000 साल तक हमने उनका उत्पीड़न किया। इस अफसाने में स्टालिन कहीं नहीं आते ना। कोई भी धर्म, मैं बार बार कह रहा हूं, उसको इसके आधार पर होना होगा। अगर उसके अंदर न्याय नहीं है तो किस बात का? विसंगतियां हैं, संवाद से दूर होंगी, उसका इंतजार किया जाए। वो किसी के पास कोई जवाब नहीं है। बस सनातन सनातन सनातन, लोग सनातन में ही डूब जाएंगे, वोटिंग कर देंगे। नो।
Well, we'll keep tracking all these developments and a lot more. For now, we're slipping into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
before I make that.
back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's also now bring you some other stories that we're tracking. The Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, addressed the Ram Jethmalani Memorial Lecture, and he in fact spoke on a whole host of issues. One of the issues he spoke about are the steps that can be taken to try and narrow the gender barriers. He also spoke about the recommendations as far as the collegium system is concerned. Let's take a look.
He would ask for plausible explanations and give an astute psychological analysis of what a person normally would or would not do. Ram had that innate ability in him, which only the best of the criminal lawyers have, of recreating a crime scene. In 1988, he was appointed as amicus curiae to defend a person accused of assassinating Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The trial court had convicted 3 persons for the assassination and sentenced them to death. The High Court of Delhi confirmed the death sentence. At the Supreme Court, as amicus curiae, persuaded by Ram Jethmalani's argument, a 3-judge bench unanimously not only set aside the death penalty, but also reversed the conviction of one of the accused, namely Balbir Singh. He would call this case one of his best forensic successes. The prosecution evidence relied upon a piece of paper supposedly found in the pocket of the accused with cryptic dates and names. Ram argued on the obvious foolishness of any person in carrying incriminating evidence after a month of the crime when public opinion was so heavily against the perpetrators. Ram gave it his all to prevent the execution of the other 2 accused persons as well. On the counsel of Jethmalani, the accused had petitioned the President under Article.
बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो जिनके बच्चे यहाँ पर हो गए मेरे डायरेक्टर एटली के, and it's very seldom that we are able to present to the whole press of India the people. Will sir, sir, what happens is that it is very seldom that to the whole press of this country, the august press of this country, we present the technicians behind the film. So I want you to please give them the loudest applause. Of course, the wonderful Deepika Padukone is stunning. All the ladies in the film are beautiful. I think Vijay Sethupathi is outstanding. और सुनील ग्रोवर कमाल हैं. और मेरा तो जवाब ही नहीं. But इस फिल्म के असली हीरोज एंड हीरोइंस वो टेक्नीशियंस हैं जिन्होंने इस फिल्म को 4 साल से बनाया है. So we will present them to you. They will answer a few questions. They worked really hard. And on my behalf as Red Chilies, there have been 2-3 wonderful people whose teams, which amount to about 100 people at least, have worked very, very hard. I'd like to mention their names if they are somewhere here. Can I see them? So it was co-produced, our producer Gaurav Verma. Where are you, Gaurav? Yeah. Gaurav Verma, thank you so much for doing all you've done. His EPs, Dharam and Pratik. If they are around, where is Dharam? Where is Pratik? Thank you so much. And there are lots of people in this team who work really, really hard. And the hardest of them all is like family to me, Pooja Dadlani. Where is she? She's worked really, really hard on this one. Where are you, Pooja? You can stand and wave also, Pooja. It's okay. And also this wonderful lady who's just become a new mother, Priya, the force behind Atlee. Please say hello to everyone. Loads of people whose names I'm not mentioning. You will see them on stage. Some of them who are not here. Nayantara ji is not here because it's a mother's birthday. So from here to Chennai, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Nayanji, for being part of this film. And a big thanks to, of course, Deepika for being as lovely as a friend, for being here, and everybody in the film. Suren, I'll go and sit down. You call upon us all, and thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Wow! So, remember मैंने क्या कहा था कि आज हम सिर्फ एक फिल्म की कामयाबी नहीं सेलिब्रेट करने आए हैं इस मूवमेंट को, इस फोर्स को जिसका नाम है जवान। और हमारे देश में कोई भी सेलिब्रेशन जो है वो डांस के बिना अधूरी है। So come on, no तमीज, when they come on stage, you're going to join them. It's time to dance to the theme.
What is being questioned? The manner in which his name has been added suddenly and then the next day he's been arrested. You also say that this is nothing political, but you know, we've also seen none less than your ministers actually celebrating firecrackers being burst.
Is it now sinking in that you've achieved what was seemingly looking like impossible even on the night before the day of the summit?
I was working as really the Sherpa of the Prime Minister. His personal credibility was very high and I could pull it off.
All the focus, of course, has been on the joint declaration, and 12 hours before the declaration was officially adopted, negotiators were still not sure whether they would arrive at it.
I don't know about 12 hours, I can tell you it was much closer than that. This is how big international events go, that it really goes down to the wire and you've got to hold your nerve, you've got to make that last push.
अगर आपको दिखता है कि कम हुआ है तब देख लीजिए आज जो ये हुआ है क्या ये दिखाता है कि आतंकवाद कम हुआ है? किसको ये उल्लू बना रहा है? ये क्या
अब कश्मीर की आवाज़ ये है कि भाई यहाँ कत्ल गारत जारी है, मासूम लोग मारे जा रहे हैं, तो प्रोपेगेंडा से नहीं होगा। आप अमन की तरफ कदम बढ़ाइए। यहाँ का वजीर आज़म कहना चाहिए हम पाकिस्तान के साथ अमन से रहना चाहते हैं और खून खराबा बंद होना चाहिए, हिंदुस्तान की अजमत कम नहीं हो और इन मिलिटेंट्स के साथ भी बात होनी चाहिए। आखिर तुम्हारे दिमाग में क्या इज़्तिराब है?
ये कांग्रेस की सोच है, सैफुद्दीन सोच। आर्मी के